Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 3, Episode 36, Fimi versus Fimi tonight. Marcus, how are you?
Darn good, Bill. Yeah, doing well. I actually got out to do some flying this afternoon, and flew, of all things, the MJX Bugs 7, and I had a great time with that little drone.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. It's not stabilized video, and so you get some kind of jerky motions, obviously, with the camera, but there's no jello in the video, which just drives me crazy. Yeah, and it flew great. It is probably one of the first drones at that price point that I feel like I could recommend to somebody that wants to try out a GPS camera drone. Now, understanding that they're not going to get really stable video, but what they will get is video without jello and be able to take decent pictures. And the drone was very easy to fly. A lot of those cheaper drones, they're way more complicated to fly than our Mavics or anything else. And this thing, it was just very straightforward, really good instructions, flew great. Anyway, I just had a lot of fun with it. So
that's awesome. I'll be anxious to see when you get some video on that. Where'd you get it from?
Banggood. It's
Banggood. Okay.
$125, Bill.
Wow. See, that's, some of these, and I gotta hand it to you. And I know I've said this before, and I think Ron's probably said it as well too. I have incredible admiration for you going out, and Brian Singleton as well, for going out and trying a lot of these drones in that price level, because a lot of times it's hit or miss, and it's mostly miss. But I'll tell you what, when you find something that hits a lot of the buttons, it really helps out. And it's great because that would be perfect for, like, say, a teenager, to get them interested in
exactly right. And you know what, it's a reliable product. I mean, it hovered really nice, and it followed the controls real well. I flew it out of range, and it did a return to home perfectly.
Wow.
Very limited range. I mean, they claim 300 meters range on it, but I got out to 180 meters and lost full connection.
Yeah.
But then it just came right home. Yeah.
You can't ask for more than that. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to spend a lot of time on a video I've been binge watching. Okay. Marcus's Fimi comparison. We're going to be talking about that tonight. I got some Fimi news. I got an update for everybody on my Fimi X8 SE 2020. I got a tracking number on my new one being sent back to me. So I'm like crossing my fingers. Now, what's real interesting is the tracking number that Fimi gave me, it had an LD in it, and then it had like another letter at the end. Now, a lot of times they use DHL for their courier service. Okay. It's no longer, and when it gets to the United States, it goes to the post office. Okay. That's how that ends up getting handled. And I'm like, okay. So I go to punch it in, and it's not showing up anywhere. It's like, now I was sent this 4 days ago. So, and my contact at Fimi said, go out, wait 4 days, and it'll start showing up. My guess is, I think they have a different tracking number for U.S. shipments or for something like that, because there's a special website for DHL Hong Kong, so where it comes from. So, but I do have a shipment coming from DHL on Thursday, and I wonder if that's it. And it's just a different tracking number because it shows it's coming from Hong Kong. But either way, it's coming, and I'm thrilled. I am so thrilled to get that back. Now, a couple of things. This is really interesting, and I've shared some of this with Marcus and Ron. Had in one of my groups, and I'm not going to tell you which group. If you're a part of it, you probably know. Oh, what the heck? It's a Mavic Mini group, all right? Tony, who is one of my admins, went out there, and people had started posting in within comments and stuff, political comments, and I'm like, no, no, time out. We're not doing this here. Okay. And then people started walking over and keep doing this stuff. And Tony, kicked out a couple of people, which is absolutely fine. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to go in. I put a post out there. All right. Now it's gotten a lot of likes, but before I did that, I went out and, I sent some, I give people one shot. All right. And their second time they do something, that's it. You're gone from the group. Okay. I'm not going to put up with this kind of stuff. Okay. We got enough to deal with here with a pandemic and people looking for work. And now I'm going to be talking about the hurricane. It's like, got enough going on. If you want to watch politics or talk about politics, go to a political group or a political page. Okay. This is about drones. And then some wise ass, pardon my language, said, oh, well, what if we talk about drones, a political post about drones? I'm like, no, it's just, you understand there's a zero tolerance for this. Okay. There's a time and a place to talk about it. I know Marcus is like me. I do a lot of my political stuff out on Twitter and a separate account. You know what? I don't think anybody on this channel knows what it is. Okay. So, that leave that stuff off this, off the groups. Okay. Is what I'm saying. And people got the message because it got well over 100 likes. So there's my rant about that. Now,
hey, Bill, so I just want to interject there. So I know, we're seeing it in the drone groups. I'm in a couple of Corvette groups and stuff, and it happens there too. But there again, those admins over there are also just like you. They just don't put up with it of either party, it's just not political. It's a site about Corvettes. It's not about politics. So, they just, delete them. You like doing it, they kick them out.
Exactly. You like candidate X, I like candidate Y. And you know what? I don't care. You know what? You fly drones, you enjoy drones. Bingo. That's all that matters to me in this group. Okay.
There you go.
And on the channel here. That's what we're about. Now, kind of switching topics here a little bit. Got a Gulf hurricane update. And I want to share this with everybody because when you live in Florida, 365 days a year, you got to keep an eagle eye out for the weather. Okay. Weather changes in a nuclear second down here. And these storms come up in the Gulf, and next thing you know, it's a hurricane. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share a little bit, a couple of things. Now, one of the places that you bookmark when you get down here right away is the National Hurricane Center on Facebook, because it's probably one of the best sources for data. I'm going to go ahead and share this screen right now. Now, the track of the storm, I'm going to show you, and it talks about this, and I've learned to read these things. Now, the number one thing with hurricanes that you have to watch out for, unless it's a direct impact, is storm surge. Okay. Now, storm surge, it's interesting because where I've flown down here, Mel and I flew at one of the spots when he was in town a couple of years ago, and there are signs that are at least 10 feet tall, and it has storm surge this high. Okay. Meaning it will be a 10-foot wall of water will come past this point. Okay. So that's one of the big things here. And the other thing is rain. And I mean lots and lots of rain. Rain. And there's going to be flooding. Just, count on that stuff. Well, the other thing, the other place that I go to rather regularly is the Weather Channel, because they do have excellent information out there as well. And you can see the track of the storm. It's going to be tracking in western Louisiana and eastern Texas, right on the coast. It's going to probably hit Galveston. There's going to be another update at 10 p.m. tonight. Well, I know our friend Johnny Alfonso. He lives in Louisiana. I think he lives more closer to New Orleans. But Johnny, if you're in the path, our thoughts and prayers are with you. And anyone in the path of the storm, please heed what your local officials tell you to do. If you need to evacuate. And here's another problem with evacuating right now, COVID-19. Shelters, okay? You have to maintain social distancing in shelters. So what that means is less people can go to shelters right now. So, where this is a real kind of delicate situation. One of the things that you're taught early on, and one of the things I do, is we have at least a couple of cases of water on hand. We have ready-to-eat canned foods on hand. I have every kind of battery known to man and then some. I have my portable ham radio ready to go in an emergency. I also have a crank weather radio as well. We have multiple flashlights. I have a lantern with batteries that are good for 30 days, and that's just for starters. Okay. So, the thing is, when you're down here, you got to prepare. There's just it's not optional down here. It's not one of those things you can say, well, let me think about it. No, it's not a think about it kind of thing. It's something that you got to do. All right. Got some news and updates that I want to share here. And, I was out on Drone XL, and, with COVID-19, it really has changed the dynamics of just about everything. Everything is virtual. I just found out, well, my college we were supposed to have our 40th, I don't want to say it too loud, college reunion this year. Okay. And it's going to be virtual now. They've made the decision in the state of Pennsylvania. The governor's been very strict about stuff, and there's going to be, we have to do it virtually. There's talk about maybe next year about trying to get together. So that's probably a good thing. But be that as it may, a lot of things are going virtual. Well, one of the things that ended up going virtual this year was, and let me pull that up. I probably should have just left the share screen up. There we go. All right. DJI's Airworks conference. Okay. It's going to be all virtual this year. And it's fantastic. If you're in the commercial drone space, this is an absolute must event to attend. I mean, it's just you need to go to this. This is just something that you will learn so much from one of these. I've talked with several people who have been to them. It's a wealth of information. It's not like CES, going around to booths and everything. There's a lot of seminars there, and there's a lot of learning. There's a lot of education with this. And then there's, you also find out about some other things that you may not know of regarding equipment and options and features. So it's always very beneficial to go to something like this. I mean, you really gain a lot from something like that. And one of the other things, and this is just, I just came across this, and I thought this was just incredible. And this was on Drone XL's website, and I asked, hey, for permission, and he gladly said, absolutely. DJI Mavic Air drone found in British Columbia Creek contains family memories. And it's just really interesting. It goes to show you, what happens. And I'm going to play a little clip here, and you can see there's no sound of this. This is real interesting because it doesn't show the crash or anything, but people found this drone with an SD card in it. They got it out and they downloaded this video. It's some family's video. So they apparently went on TV to try to find, in social media, to try to find the owners of this. I just think that this is just something very different. You don't accidentally find a drone every day like this. So it's one of those one in a lifetime kind of things that you'll find. But I just thought it made for some interesting news. Now the last part of the news segment that I want to talk about is, now the FAA starts testing drone detection and mitigation equipment at airports. Okay. Now apparently this is going to start later this year. Looks like there's interested manufacturers, vendors, and integrators of drone detection or mitigation technologies will have 45 days to respond to the FAA's announcement. So they're going to be. It looks like this is starting. So it's a good thing, but it's like it needs to be. This is something. This is one of those necessary evils caused by idiots. And one of the other things that I saw that I wanted to talk to you about, I didn't get a bookmark, but we're going to go there now. As you all know, there's wildfires out near San Francisco, and our good friend Donnie Hampton, he was saying he can't put videos out right now because they've been told to stay inside because of the smoke. So, you know, one of the things, and let me see if I can find that here.
Yeah, Bill, we're inundated with that California smoke here in Idaho. In fact, we have unhealthy air right now for that.
Really?
Okay. California. Now, even Lauren Donauer's in the chat here. He says that they're even getting it up there in Calgary from fires.
Calgary, good grief.
In BC and that California smoke blowing north.
Wow. Now, you know, the article here is no FAA prosecution for operators suspected of flying drone illegally into Bighorn firefighting airspace. You know, you see stuff like this and you just cringe. Okay. You know, it's like, Marcus, the mental giants that do this kind of stuff. Okay. It's just like, you know, you want to ban them from buying drones the rest of their lives.
It's just so frustrating because we love this hobby so much, and all it takes is just a couple of idiots to really mess it up for us. And this is just a prime example of that. It just drives you crazy.
It really does. It really does. Now, one of the other things, and this one isn't actually a very cool one here. Okay. Our buddy Ocusync, okay, put out a video which was a DJI factory tour showing the production of the Mavic 2, specifically the Mavic 2 Zoom. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get that banner hid so we could see this here. And let's do this. And then we're going to go ahead and play this.
Don't you wish you had access to some of those QR codes?
Oh my gosh.
You got to wonder if DJI really wants this out there because, you know, a lot of this has to be very proprietary.
Yeah, you know, I was going to say the same thing. Boy, oh boy, I got one of my old videos coming up now. The world needs to be very scared on that, that's for sure. Okay. But, Marcus, that was so interesting seeing this and seeing, you know, part of my job is really, you know, it's called quality assurance testing and everything. And a lot of what we saw was testing of this, which was real interesting.
Yeah, and Lauren is mentioning in the chat here that notice the drones are powered on the whole time. Those drones are running, and you saw them spinning up the motors. But the fascinating part to me was that narrow little corridor they were in, and the drone would look at a QR code, and it would tell it to perform a certain maneuver or whatever. It was fascinating stuff. Plus, some of that manufacturing, like I said, I have a little bit of a background in manufacturing in the dairy industry, and we were very close to the vest on all of the techniques that we used to put milk in a bottle, you know, and that's nothing like this, right? So I can imagine that this is probably, I can't imagine DJI is too happy for that video to be out there.
Well, you know, it's like a Ocusync, and you know, there's been all kind of rumors that he actually works for them or gets paid by them to do this and let leaks out and stuff. And you know, Hey verified. Now, if you go to the article in Drone XL, Hey actually verified that it's on DJI's web XIO So it's a legit video. It is
wow.
from DJI.
Well, so maybe DJI
So,
doesn't mind it being out there, but it
you know,
looks like a lot of proprietary stuff there.
I gotta think, and this is my I've just come to this summation about Acetylev. It was rumored that his girlfriend worked for them, and then she got fired, and then he had a friend that worked for them, and they got fired, and all. I think he probably works. I think they probably give him leaks on purpose. He might get paid for it. That's just the conjecture that I've come to through the years. But anyway, it's wonderful getting. We got that glimpse from the Mavic Air. I posted that video probably about a year and a half ago of, when they're testing it, and it was on the internal memory of the Mavic Air, okay? And the first Mavic Air, which I thought was absolutely hilarious, okay? It's like in somebody said, when they got their drone, instead of clearing that out, they decided to click on that area, and they looked, and there was a video file there, and they opened it up, and boom. There was a gentleman in the UK that got it. And then this was even more interesting. They asked him to take the video down, okay? And he said he got compensated extremely well. In other words, I think they got him another drone, okay? But what was real interesting was I was given permission by DJI. I went out, I asked them directly. They gave me permission. I loaded the video out on YouTube, and it's sitting there to this day. So why they want it pulled and then they let me do it, I don't know. I just don't know. It's one of life's great mysteries. I want to take a second and greet people tonight. Steve Fox is here. Ray Kelly, Lauren's in here. Stephen Ewing is here. Richard Hudman, Drone Master is here. Thank you for joining tonight, my friend. Border Drone Seekers. Jay Bird is in the house. Johnny Drone Flyer is here. Let's see who else is here. Hot Rod in Daytona. Barry Markowitz. Barry, welcome. Glad to see you, my friend. Aloha. Sam Burns is here. Michael Wright is in the house. Steve Fox, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Matt Cundiff is here. Adirondack Drones and RC is here. Okay. Sailor Steve is here. All right. Jeff is here. Thank you, Jeff, for that super chat. I appreciate that. Patrick Sutton. Let's see who else. Aiden Hill is here. Bill Thomas is in the house. Steve Mack is here. We got a great lineup of people in here. We got the who's who of the drone community here tonight, Marcus. This is incredible. All right. It looks, I think I got them all covered here. Now, this was, and I got to say this, and I told Marcus this before we got online here tonight. Okay, I've been binge watching his comparison video between the Fimi X8 SE 2020 and the X8 SE 2018. I've just been binge watching it. I told him when he told me it was coming out, and I was just like, okay, wow, and it's just like. Wow. So he's got a few views off of me. But Marcus, I'm just going to let you lead with this. And if you could, I would really love for you to play some clips from your video tonight.
Yeah, I absolutely will. Probably the best would be that side-by-side clip. I'll have to get it queued up here. But it was a fun video to make. And the challenge was, well, there were a couple of challenges. One was, boy, were there a bunch of flies out there I think they had just ran some cattle through that area, because I saw a few flies and stuff out there, and man, there were just flies everywhere. So you're focused on flying your drone, and you're wanting to swat flies. But that aside, also, when you're trying to fly both drones on the identical pattern, right, or close enough, so that you can make a reasonable comparison, you don't know how hard it is to just hold a steady speed with that drone. But that aside, it was a lot of fun, and obviously that canyon is a great place to fly. So Let me get a clip queued
Go
up.
ahead and do that. I'll talk some more while you're doing that. Now, one of the big things that a lot of people have talked about in the group is, there is no fan in the 2020 version. There is a fan in the 2018 version, and there's a and Marcus noted on his, and I noted on mine. It was warm, but it wasn't like you couldn't touch it. Okay, it was still the temperature. I mean, I didn't have a thermometer there. My meat thermometer is probably about the best that I could do for something like that. I didn't have it out there, but it wasn't like you touch it, you're going to burn your hand kind of thing. All right. And they said, and I went out and I did ask Fimi about that. And one of the things that they told me was they needed to remove that for more electronics to go in, and they didn't get specific with what they put in there, which I thought was very interesting. One of the other things, and I know Marcus has a build date of May. A lot of people have said about these build dates. Okay, mine was built in May too, so everybody's just like, oh no, mine's built in May. I said, don't panic here. Okay, I think what it is it's not only the build date, but they look at the serial number, and there probably was a range of serial numbers that were built in that batch that probably had the issue like I had with mine, because they didn't hesitate. They just said, it was like overnight, we're getting you a new drone. So here's the paperwork. Ron is joining us.
Hey, there he is.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome.
How's everyone doing tonight?
This evening?
Looks like we got a good group in here tonight in the chat.
Oh, we do. Now, well, it's perfect now that you're here.
Oh, thank you for the warm welcome. Bill, how's everything in Florida? You people staying safe down there from Laura, and what's the other hurricane?
Well, the other one's gone now. So, but it's just Laura right now, and we're keeping an eye on it. And it's the humidity. We had the heat index was 105 here all day today.
Get out of here.
Yeah, and the humidity is like 95% right now. I took a walk before the show tonight. It's like I think I probably lost about 20 pounds taking a 10-minute walk.
You don't have to wear one of those suits to lose weight. We had Michael Wright on Drone Nation last night, and he said that they had a good day in Texas. It was only 95 yesterday.
Yeah, that's about what it is. What we're doing right now, Ron. I don't know if Marcus is going to show part of his Fimi X8 SE comparison video. We're going to be talking about that here.
Okay.
He's going to show part of that clip. Marcus, take it away if you're ready.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to click share right now, Bill. So tell me when you see my screen.
I got it.
Okie dokie.
There we go.
There it is. So obviously on the left, we have the 2018, and on the right, we have the 2020 version. Now, the issue here that I see is it appears that the white balance is off. And I had a couple commenters comment. So my good friend Ron Brown taught me a long time ago that you always want to set your white balance and not leave it on automatic. Because if you leave it on automatic, it will change as the conditions change and can look kind of funky. So he said, always set it. So I had both these drones set on sunny day, white balance. Well, I'm telling you, I've come to the conclusion that Fimi is just out of their mind with their white balance values. It's not like you can set the Kelvin. I wish it was manual that you could set it wherever you wanted to. They just have those presets, cloudy day, sunny day, and whatever.
Let me interject real fast, Marcus. That's the advantage of the Mavic Mini, that they don't have this predefined sunny and cloudy white balances. You can set the Kelvin to whatever you want.
Exactly. So that's what makes, I believe, it's been pointed out to me by a couple of commenters, Doug Wells and then DJ Alex Marks over in Greece pointed out to me. He flies the Fimi X8 a lot as well, and he said to set it on automatic. So I want to try that now because, in my opinion, both of them are a little bit off. In looking at this video now, it kind of surprised me. The 2018 looks even a little more saturated than the 2020, although I think they're both and Ron, I'd love to hear your opinion on this. I think they're both a little bit too warm in the white balance department.
Yeah, they're doing what a lot of the budget drones tend to do. They make, if it's something green or brown in the frame, it tends to, not portray those colors truly. And you have a lot of both tones in there. So yeah, and it's one of those things like, and I've even shot in the log profile when you let me your Fimi 2018. And it wasn't a really flat log like I'm used to, so I still wasn't able to push the colors back exactly the way I would have wanted them. So yeah, I don't know what the answer is. And Marcus, so I think we've talked about this in your video, in this video here, when you were comparing them, we could partially see your screen when you switched the white balance from auto to sunny, and you could see it change for the worse right in just a flick of a couple seconds on your screen.
Yeah, that's right. And that's what Doug Wells pointed out to me. Doug Wells watched the video and he saw that. I'd never seen it. So I went back to that spot in the video, and sure enough, so I'm just looking at the FPV and I'm doing setup before I took off. I switched from auto to sunny day, and you just saw the screen go yellow at that point, or too warm. And not, like I said, I've had a couple other people told me that the secret to good video on the Fimi is to put it in auto on white balance. And I'm a little bit embarrassed to say I've been flying this drone. I had the 2018 version since May of last year, and I'm just figuring some of that out. But there's something I wanted to point out here. I paused it. I'm starting it back up again. So sharp eyes are going to see a big difference here between the bit rate on the 2020 version versus the 2018. That 100 megabit bit rate, look at how much better defined the cliff face is here on the 2020 versus the 2018. A lot more detail. And I never did really, people have explained bit rate to me before, but looking at these videos side by side really showed me the difference. One more thing to mention, on the 2020 version, it always defaults to medium on video quality. So you always have to go in and set it to high quality to get that bit rate. So nobody wants to see me, so we're going to shut this off now. And I'm going to give you back the screen, Bill.
Okay. One of the other things that I wanted to say to this too, okay, and this is, guys, let me tell you this. When Marcus and Ron and I do these videos and do videos like this, okay, these don't take 15 minutes to edit, all right? These take a good couple of hours to edit something like this. And plus,
no, that was an all-day edit.
Okay, yeah, and I would say for something like this, yeah, Marcus was there all day. I mean, I just did one. Now, I've been pretty good with doing. I just did one on my 6-wheel drive off-road truck, okay? Now, that took me forever because I had so much footage to use. I had to edit it and edit and edit and edit. Now, and Marcus, I'll tell you what. You got the comparison that you had, all right, both of those, all right? It's like it was just you. It was like they were both flying at the same time. You did such great work on it. I mean, that concentration and flying like you did and being able to do that side-by-side comparison like that, that's top notch. Okay. I've tried it before, and it's just like my video's been off by just a little bit, and it's just so difficult. So kudos to you big time with an exclamation mark on that. I think that's incredible.
Thank you so much, Bill. I appreciate that, because you're right. A lot of work goes into these. When you think about the time that you spend, not just the flying part, that's the fun part, but the editing can often, it can take quite a while.
It does. And, the other thing too is, it's, how am I going to say this here? Okay. Fimi customer service to me has been incredible. They've been very responsive to all my queries, even before I had issues when I had questions, they got back to me. They were very good about all this, and Hubson, it was like, hello, did I send my email? Did I hit send? Just absolutely no response. But the other thing that I want to say is this, okay? Banggood, all right? They shoot themselves in the foot all the time, okay? All the time. Because, Marcus and I both had a lot of sales. And unfortunately, because of Banggood, we lost a lot of sales, okay? A lot, and it was pretty significant for me. I don't know about Marcus. It was pretty significant for me. But, because, we do the best to help promote these drones on our channels, okay? And, Ron as well. We all do a great job at that. But, it's like when the company that you're trying to help sell these things, whether it's their ordering process from the manufacturer or, they don't, they're just not with all that, they shoot themselves in the foot all the time. And then they'll come back and they'll say, how are your sales going with them? And I'm like, okay, you guys haven't been shipping them. How can I say how my sales are going? Because you haven't shipped the doggone things, so, it gets real frustrating. But be that as it may, and I also told this to Marcus as well, Ron. I said, you know what? I said, I may just get a 2018 version because, just watching this video, I'm just dying to see what the video is like from this. Now, one of the things that I did from day one was I had the white balance set to auto on there, and I turned it up to high quality in terms of the video. So, I never even had an inkling of an issue with that. And the other thing that's impressed me with this as well, and we don't spend a lot of time talking about it because almost all of us are a lot of people are fixed on the video portion, are the pictures that come from it, okay? I have been extremely impressed with the detail from these pictures. It has been absolutely incredible, bar none. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, that takes pretty darn good pictures. Here's the other thing that we need to say is when we're talking about these drones, we're talking about them in a price dependent sense because, in my opinion, my Mavic Mini takes better video than either the Fimi 2020 or 2018. Now, that said, that's DJI, and obviously the Mini doesn't have some of the other capabilities that these Fimis have, namely flying in the wind and some of the intelligent flight modes and those sorts of things. So, we're talking apples to apples, but if video is the ultimate and the picture quality is the ultimate, obviously it's DJI. But that said, from a price dependent perspective, if you're looking for a $400 drone, wow, that Fimi X8 SE is the one.
I totally agree with Marcus on the Mini. I would take the 2.7 30K video from the Mini over either the Fimis or the Hubson Xenos any day, and it does better with brighter exposure. And in my opinion, the JPEGs photos are much better out of the Mini than either the Fimi or the Hubson products. But then of course, to be fair, is obviously, when I was flying out at Guffey Butte the other day, if I'd have had the Fimi, trust me, I could have jetted right out there to Halverson Lake with that thing without an issue. Or the Xeno 2.
Or the Xeno 2, either one. You're right. Whereas the Mini, I started getting wind warnings, and hey, I wasn't going to take that chance. I turned around and brought it back.
And let me just throw in real fast, Bill, that and with the Mini, you won't have horizon issues. You won't have the occasional what do you call gimbal micro shakes? Even some of the tiny annoyances of the Fimi and the Hubson aren't there on the Mini.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. One of the things I want to kind of, we're going to wind down everything. I wanted to, I'd be remiss not to talk about the Mavic Air 2. And one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight was I recently did a test, and it was in sport mode because that was one of the things. Supposedly, if you remember on the original Mavic Air, one of the problems was, they had that, with the gimbal, when you got into sport mode, you could tell the video was, it basically ruined the video. Okay. It was, yeah, that's what I'll say. So one of the things I wanted to do the last time I got up for a test was to test sport mode to see how it was. And I got to tell you this, guys, I got it up to almost 43 miles an hour. I didn't see one prop in that shot. And I did my full round about the lake here. I mean, I really, and what's nice is it hits different winds because I'm going north-south and I'm going east-west, and it's hitting different winds and everything, because that's one of the things that I noticed. And the drone that's most notorious for props in the shots, okay? It's the Phantom 4, all right? And one of the things, and spoiler alert, I got a video coming out about the Phantom 4 Pro and how to get those props out of the shots.
You don't see many Phantom 4 videos nowadays, Bill.
One of the things, okay, and I've said this, I know what speed, based upon calm wind conditions, okay, I know what speed to put it at. Based on a windy day, I know what speed to travel. And there's that's one of my secret hidden recipes for making sure the props are not in the shots. And I got a video coming out about that because because a lot of people, it's interesting because I have a Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 group, and there are a lot of people who are new to the drone. Okay, they've had other drones before, but they're new to this, and right away, I'm got some great shot, but got ruined by props in the shots. And I've had several of those lately, and I said, you know what, I want to get a video out about this because I think it's important enough to, even though this is drone, it's I'll call it a legacy drone because basically they talk about the old IBM mainframe systems as legacy. It's a legacy drone. It's they're not making anymore. They're going to be done with it. After this iteration. Now we also got a lot of comments on our discussion regarding the Mavic 3 coming next year, and I have to say most of them were great comments. We had a lot of good discussion about that last week, which I appreciate from you guys. But and one of the things, and there was just a wild gambit of comments, and one said, "Oh, you can't replace the Inspire. It will never. You can't have a 360 camera on a Mavic 3. That's impossible because of the airframe." And it just went ad nauseum with things like that. And I'm saying, you know what? I said, look, okay, the Inspire is an outdated platform, okay? Everybody you talk to will tell you that, all right? DJI has been going smaller, not bigger, okay? The bigger ones, they're all commercial, okay? The M200, the M300, they're agriculture drones, they're all the big boys, okay? But they've made a pretty loud and clear statement as far as consumer, and maybe I'll even venture to say prosumer drones. Small portability is what they want, okay? And don't say never to, Ocusync 2.0 is the way to go. You guys know what a wonderful, you never have an issue with that. I've never had, as far as now I've flown out to the Skyway Bridge, and there's a lot of interference down there because there's boats and, with that bridge there and everything. I've never had a lick of problems as far as, range and signal loss and all kind of things. Now, what was real interesting was there was a ore ship or one of those, freighter ships coming through. And apparently I got it hooked up in my radar or something and it got confused. So I had to bring it home. But other than that, I'm saying, OcuSync 2.0 is the way to go. And DJI's made it real clear with their commitment to it when they brought the Mavic Air 2 out. They said, this is what we're going with. And look at the gifts that DJI keeps giving us with that. All right. We just got the zoom feature on there. And Ron, you did an incredible video demonstrating the Dolly zoom. That was fantastic. I haven't commented on it yet, but I've watched it and it's absolutely fantastic. And the point bears repeating here. Okay. A lot of people wait to have, and Ron talked about it, they want to have that, I just hit a button on a menu and it'll do it kind of thing. All right. This takes some skill here, folks. Okay. And I know most of you guys in the chat have that kind of skill to do stuff like this.
Bill, can I interrupt you just for a second? Do you think that going forward with a future firmware update or an app update that DJI will eventually add the automated Dolly zoom in like the Mavic 2 zoom has, and also the Paranafi has an automated Dolly zoom feature, and even some of my phone gimbals. I don't know about the Osmo Mobile, but the Xeon Smooth 4 has a automated Dolly feature built into the software there too. So many other, some very affordable devices have this feature. Do you think that someday they will add it to the Mavic Air 2, or do you think they won't add it because they don't want to cannibalize the feature from the Zoom 2?
No, I think you're absolutely right. And that's one of the things I think we'll see probably later this year, Ron. Not that there's a lot of time left this year because we're almost into September, but I think, because, of our talking about, and making a whole lot of sense there, keeping them waiting for the Mavic 3 till next year. We're going to see a lot with the Mavic Air 2. I mean, we're all chomping at the bit for the smart controller firmware update for that. I mean, it's going to be like, why do you want to take any other drone out right now to shoot anything with other than your Mavic Air 2?
Well, I'm glad you answered that question, Bill. With the success of the Mavic Air 2, how do you think? And we won't. I'm asking you just to guess because we don't know these numbers. We never know. We'll know these numbers. How do you think its sales do versus the Evo models that were released a month or so ahead? Or that's actually they weren't released much before the Air. They were all. But how do you think the Air 2 competes with the Evo products that came out around the same time?
I'm gonna say that okay. And the only method that I have of being able to track something like that, I have an Autel Evo 2 group and I have a Mavic Air 2 group, all right, on Facebook. The Mavic Air 2 group has just exploded, okay? You got 15, 20 people a day join that group. The Autel Evo 2 group, I'll get 5 to 10 a week join that group, okay? And see, this is the thing, the thing, and you brought up a great point with this, Ron, okay? I think Autel shot themselves in the foot, all right? The 8K, the 6K, and it's great if you can, and here's the bottom line on this, if you can afford it, okay? What those drones run $1,500 for the 8K, like $1,800 for the 6K. I'm pretty sure that's about a rough guesstimate on that. They're good drones. I'm not saying that, but for what you get for $799 for the Mavic Air 2, why? Now it has a zoom capability on it. Why should you look at anything else?
I'm thinking Evo should have released the third model, the Evo Mini.
Probably.
Probably. But if they were released a smaller Evo for say about $999 or whatever, that may have been the one people were really looking for rather than the 8K.
Yeah. Well, certainly from a consumer standpoint, Ron, I would agree with you because I think they've kind of placed themselves kind of higher up in that prosumer range. Would you agree?
Well, I'm sorry, me or Bill?
Well, either one of you, actually.
Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, I was reading a comment one more time, Marcus. I definitely heard the comment. I don't want to give the wrong answer.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is I think that Autel with the Evo 2, they pushed it up there to more of the professional end of that consumer market. There's the prosumer market, but we all know there's ranges within that, right? Mm-hmm. And I would say they pushed that up to the top of that range, more towards the professional level, and didn't have the mass appeal that like the Mavic Air 2 has.
I 100% agree with you. They went for that high end of the market. They wanted to steal the Mavic 2 Pro people, especially with the 1-inch sensor 6K version, where maybe while they were busy doing that, DJI went for the fat middle of the market. That kind of like, above the the $500 type drones, but below the $1,500 type of drones, and they hit pay dirt with the feature set for the price, and it almost plays to what I just said. And I know Eva doesn't have a crystal ball or whatever, Autel, but they'd have been better off with maybe making those drones, but also making a sub $1,000 drone to get some of the fat middle of the market, because it seems like DJI read the market better. As far as sales, I mean, I know, because we all know that high end of the consumer market, the kind of real estate, the person making money with the drones, they're the minority people buying drones. They don't drive the industry or whatever. They're at the high end. It's like what Apple, when they make their super duper pro computers that cost $5,000 to $10,000. That's only for a small segment market. They make the iMac or the MacBook Pro for the everyday user.
So Ron, the one thing though that I think probably the single feature that probably epitomizes that is 8K video, right? No consumer is going to be that interested in 8K video, where a professional might, because they want to be able to zoom in on a part of their video, crop in on a part of the video that the average consumer like me doesn't really care about. And I'm sorry if I interrupted you, Bill.
No. What I was going to say was, and I put the comment on the screen, Lon in the chat, and Lon always has great information, said rumor mill has that Autel's making something like a Mini. So, that's going to be real interesting to say. And I think one of the other things that really bears repeating is this, okay? Most people, I'm going to say 9 out of 10 people will have a PC, maybe even 10 out of 10 will have a PC or ability to download their files off the Mavic Air 2 without any issue, okay? There's no question, even 4K. When you look at the 8K for the Autel Evo and the 6K and the processing power that is needed for that, and I know we've talked about this ad nauseum, okay? You just can't have your run-of-the-mill pick it up at Best Buy computer and set it down there and plop it. You got to have a very capable graphics card in there. You got to have unbelievable memory in there. You got to have unbelievable storage in there. You probably have to have SSD for your hard drive in there to process this kind of stuff. It needs to be a high clock as far as an Intel processor is concerned. It takes a lot of horsepower to process these videos. And then, the other thing with all this is how can you watch them, okay? And, 8K TVs are out there, but you know what, guys? That's beyond most people's budgets, okay? I could save up for a year and probably not afford one of those TVs.
So Bill, even at 4K, it seems like I'm buying about one of these about every other month.
Yeah. I mean, that's I just had, and this was great. This is just a quick side note here. I got one of my hard drives flashed up red. You're out of space, and all this stuff. Okay. Well, you guys know I have Dropbox. All right. Now, what I did was I made the mistake, and I actually had a physical copy of Dropbox, not a physical copy, but a physical copy of all the files on my hard drive, okay? And it would add to them all the time, which is good, okay? But the idea is it's in the cloud, and you can always access it in the cloud. So what happened was I have 4 hard drives on built into my PC. I have 2 SSD drives. Okay, they're both 500 gig. All right, one of them was completely filled up, and the reason it was filled up was because everything that I had on Dropbox was on them. So I offloaded it to my external hard drive. Life's good now as far as that's concerned, and my processing time on videos has been a lot better, by the way. So and the other thing is, when you upload some of these videos to YouTube, look at the time. It takes twice as long to get a 4K video up to YouTube. Yeah. Imagine processing the other one. So,
hey, Lauren comment in the chat. He's got 24 terabytes storage.
Jeez,
that's still tight. For somebody like Lauren who is out like every single day, and he's mad with the shutter button. No pun intended, Lauren. As avid a photographer and videographer as you are, you need that kind of storage. You need that kind of space. It's a foregone conclusion. Take stock in B&H Photo or Amazon or something, because you're going to be buying hard drives. Okay, unless you have an offline, portable solution. Now, I know Billy has a great one. I also know Ken Dono has a great one too. I mean, but these things, you're looking at spending, maybe $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 just on a storage solution, let alone a PC. So,
you'll pay more for storage than you will for that Mavic 3.
Yeah. Having your own home server that you can swap drives on with swappable drives. Yeah. I've thought about that, Bill.
Oh, I have too, and I'm thinking at the point, and I'm like you, because I'm at the point, I got to buy another external hard drive. Okay. Because, the one that I have here, I use it at noon. It runs a daily differential backup every single day. I leave my computer on all the time. It does, it's seamless. It works. It's a great hard drive. I'm probably going to get another one like that because I want to be able to download and offload some of these files. A lot of times what ends up happening is, when it gets so big, a lot of times you don't find out about it until you're trying to process your video, because, I know I use DaVinci Resolve for my editor, and if there's a space problem on there, boy, oh boy, it's like slow turning a crank to get that thing to process stuff. I mean, that's kind of just the way it is.
Hey, Bill, I know we're getting close to the end of the show here, but I want to address somebody in the comments. I think it was John M. I'm going to call him John Mag in the comments, so I won't mispronounce his name. He brought up the Tello Talent. Bill, you have the insight on a lot of this stuff. What is up with this new Tello Talent that we keep hearing about? We heard about it because they did an update for the Tello, and they mentioned the Talent in the update notes.
I heard about that. It's just like, and I've looked. I haven't really found anything on it, which is just, it's just crazy. I don't understand that.
Ask Frank on your weekly conference call, Bill.
I should do that. Well, he's trying to. My last one got canceled because he was talking to the CCP the other day. They were getting their report from Frank.
So now we don't know what's up with we don't know any information on the Talent.
No, and it wouldn't. It's like one of those things. More often than not, now how we find out a lot of this information is when it gets put out. Like DJI or China has a patent office. Okay, even though they're communist, they have patents within the country. Okay, and when it gets, a lot of times it'll hit that patent office before it hits the FCC ID grant database. So we'll see these renderings come out, because we did get renderings of the Mavic 3 camera system, okay, and what it's going to look like, or one variant of it. That was out, probably about a month or so ago, and we talked about that at length. And hey, had a couple of articles on that as well. So it's like when we get that information, when it comes out and hits that patent site, is usually when we get that. Now, right. There's a couple of other people out there, besides the C11, there's somebody else, and names begins with an H, Hanji or something like that. And it's out on Twitter, and he's put out a lot of renderings as well too. So I mean, but that's something, that's something that I'm really curious about.
A follow-up question before we go here on the Tello Talent. In this market, we're in right now, in a world where we have like a Mavic Mini and we have the Xenos and so on. Is there a space in this marketplace for a new Tello? Would a new Tello find an audience in the market we're in today?
My answer is definitely yes, because the price point for that drone, okay, it's going to be, at 100 or less. And, for what you get is a very basic entry-level drone, okay? It flies well. The video from it is always is so-so to me, but it does take great pictures. I will say that. When I had the Tello, the pictures it took were great. The video, not so good, and I thought it flew well for what you got for that package for $100. I mean, you got a lot, and you also had the capabilities. Now, they've just been incredibly updating the app and the controller and all that for the original Tello. So, that's a drone that you probably might want to revisit if you have one, if you haven't downloaded app updates and things like that, because there's been a lot of stuff come out about that. So that's something to look into.
Hey, you want to hear, just real quick, you want to hear an interesting fact that kind of related to the Tello? MGX, who is famous for making the Bugs toy drone, has just released an MGX 20, and it has EIS and an electronic image stabilization in lieu of a gimbal, and it seems to work pretty good. And it's only the second toy grade drone after the Tello that have the electronic image stabilization built into the drone, and it doesn't rely on your phone to do it. By what's processed the video is built right into the drone.
Now this drone is out and available right now.
Yeah, you can. I saw it on Banggood and Tampa for about $157 with one battery in the drone. Wow,
that's something probably, Marcus. That sounds like a buy button for you, my friend.
Bill.
Don't give secrets away, Bill. Don't give the corporate secrets away here. You're under NDA on this.
So let me tell you what would really motivate me to buy that drone is because that little MJX Bug 7 I flew today did such a great job. It tells, I knew MJX put out a pretty good product, but that little Bug 7 kind of sold me on what they do. So, that sounds like it might be an interesting drone at the price point.
For budget flyers. Not for high-end flyers.
Price dependent. Yes, indeed.
Absolutely. Well, let's have some closing thoughts. Marcus, go for it.
Well, so all this talk about the Fimi and getting some advice. I mean, I so appreciate some of the comments I get on some of those videos that can kind of point you in a direction that you may have missed yourself, and I clearly did. So I really want to try that. But well, actually, both the 2020 and 2018, I want to try them with some different white balance settings and see how that works. So yeah, that's probably my next project. I've got another video coming out here probably tomorrow. I flew the Mavic Mini out over the Boise River. I found a really cool spot to take off from and did some low-level flying over the Boise River. So I guess that's about it.
Awesome. Ron?
My thoughts are for the week is I'm glad Marcus made that good Fimi video because there's not a whole lot to talk about this week. It's kind of a slow week in the drone world. So I said glad Marcus made that good video. And I enjoyed Bill's RC car video. But I had a question, and I've watched the video. If I haven't commented because I need to comment about 20 videos. I watch them on the iPad, but I hate typing on the iPad, so I wait until I get back to the full keyboard. As old guys, we don't type so good in them little those on-screen keyboards. But the 6 wheels, do all 6 wheels go to help you get over like rough terrain?
Yeah, it does, and it does a good job with this. But it's interesting because some guy he follows my channel. He gave me a real in-depth review on a lot of the stuff on Banggood. Now he said with that, and I got this from a couple of people. They said the rear differential on right at the end said it sucks. It says if you really take it seriously off-roading, it will break. The parts will wear down in it. So, you know, the kind of off-roading that I did is probably the most that something like that can do. But, you know, it's great getting an education on this because, you know, I'm just green on all this stuff. And what was great was in the comments, you know, he listed some of the manufacturers to get good cars off of. Of course, Metro Drones. Bill, thank you so much for the super chat.
There you go, Bill. Good seeing you.
Go ahead, finish up your. Did you have anything else to say, Ron?
No. I just a question. I'm glad you answered it. And I know the RC car guys are kind of like the FPV pilots. They're fixing as much as they're actually flying or driving. But Marcus has a point too. I'm done. But Marcus has a point.
Well, Ron, you're being very humble. But you put out a great video. You did a great range test with the Mavic Mini with the Yagi range extender. So, yeah, I wanted to point that out to people. If you haven't seen Ron's latest video, he does a really cool range test with the Mavic Mini.
Thank you.
Yeah, you definitely want to do that. Now, are you going to be on? Are you and Mikey going to be on tonight?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a big show tonight. We came up with the subject a little while ago. It's going to be, you know, the state of live streaming with drones. And you know what?
Oh, that'll be good.
This is going to be the first week where we had the question of the week, but I still haven't heard from Mikey whether we actually had a question of the week or whatever. So if we don't have a question of the week, maybe we can get one of you guys to ask the question of the week. So formulate the question of the week in case we don't have one. It's called the Ask Mikey segment.
Ask Mikey. Well, you guys need to check out Philly Drone Life and Ron. They're on right after us, so make sure you go over there tomorrow night, 8:30. Drone Therapy with our good friend Mr. Bill Thomas from Coast to Coast Drones.
We're going to do the channel shout out thing again, where we're going to shout out everybody's channel. Yeah,
I'm going to at 9 o'clock. Ken Dono has his weekly show, and he has a co-host. So, you know, that's all. Ken's always interesting. It's never a dull moment with him. You know, Thursday night, Ken Herron is on. You know, it will probably coming up this Friday. No, it's not the beginning of the month, but probably 2 weeks from Friday. Usually Kelly's on. He has like the first Friday of the month. He does a show. Art's on Saturday nights. Sunday afternoon, Drone Seekers, and our very own Mr. Marcus Crawford is on there. That's a show you guys got to watch. It's just awesome. Mel is on Sunday evenings, and definitely don't miss out on Lloyd the Grumpy Vlogger. He's on Monday nights at, I believe, 8 o'clock. So I think I've covered a gambit of everybody here.
What about Drone Nation?
And then there's Drone Nation Monday night, 9 p.m.
And Mark, can we mention our Thursday special show, or is that top secret? We had our NDA on Thursday night.
I think we are. We're under DNF or DNF.
You're under DNF. Guys, you didn't hear anything. You can't say anything about it. So don't.
Yeah, everybody's under DNA. That was in it.
Around. Don't be spreading this around. Oh, one more thing before I close. I got to do a little show and tell here. Okay.
He's getting the Mavic 3 out, folks. Don't look away.
I'm getting the Mavic 3 out. Now, you know, we had our 10,000 subscriber giveaway, and I was now, you know, some of you are waiting on your gifts. Well, I actually got some of them mailed to me. Now, you know, they don't have black coffee mugs anymore where I'm getting them made. But what I did was, look at this here, okay? This is Bill the Drone Reviewer, okay? Black coffee mugs with a black handle, all right? They just came in today. So for those of you that won this, they will be coming in the mail to you. You know, and
that looks like a limited edition. That looks like a limited edition mug.
This is a limited. Valerie's like, is there one for me? Okay. So it came in a big box today. Is there one for me? Actually, I get these through Vistaprint, guys, and the price is very, very reasonable for what you get. And these guys do quick work. I'm really impressed with them. I've had a bunch of stuff done from them. And also there's some T-shirts and a polo shirt. Ray Kelly's won the polo shirt. All those will be, you know, I'll be getting those orders in this weekend. So these things will be getting mailed to you. And I know all of my co-hosts that week are getting a gift as well. And those will be going out this weekend. So Saturday, I'm going to be busy printing off postage all day Saturday,
Oh boy,
getting these things out. But what I did was I actually got smart. Okay. These boxes, it comes in these crazy, awesome boxes, okay, that are designed for coffee mugs. All right. And I ordered some other boxes off of Amazon. Now I just had to do some trimming on this. It fits right in those boxes. So these will be protected. So when they get to its destination, 99.99% chance it will be absolutely fine. So, and if you guys are interested in one of these, let me know, because I'm getting ready to get a website together with merchandise on it, because I've had a lot of people ask me about these and the T-shirts and the polo shirts. You know, I'm probably going to get a website together so you guys can order some of these things. For now, if you're interested in one of these, email me at buildadronereviewer@gmail.com and I will get you set up, okay? I'm not going to make an arm and a leg on these, but I want to get these out to you, because I know Kelly Shore uses his like crazy. So all that being said, make sure you go over and tune in Ron. He's going to be on with Mikey right now after the show here. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. It's been a little bit of a dry week as far as drones are concerned. I'm really thankful Marcus did that video, which I'm still going to go back and probably watch again tomorrow like I've been doing. But as always, guys, it's a great day to fly. Take care, everybody. Have a great rest of your evening.